Present.
Rick, here. John, here. Tara.
Here.
Everyone's invocation. Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I need a motion for the consent agenda.
Motion approved.
A motion by the second. Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Public input, this is time and place for items not already on the agenda with a time limit of 3 minutes each. Nobody? Perfect. Miscellaneous, update from History Center Foundation in reference to History Center.
This was at the request of, I think it was, this was just, I had reached out to Eric to have the members of the foundation come and give an update and answer any questions you have reference History Center.
Do I know anything?
And before you talk, Becky,
Yeah.
first thing I want to say is we've never said anything about selling the building or closing your doors. I mean, with Von writing that and that, I mean, we've talked about what we would do with the building if they would ever disband.
Yes.
I mean, we've talked about that, but we have never said we're closing your doors.
Okay. Well, I'll try to share with you what I know, but I do want to give you, I do want to share with you what we do.
Okay.
Is that okay? I didn't know, somebody said something about money at one time and how much have we put into the building. And we have our lease agreement, original one from 2006, and Mike, you were the mayor then. How cool was that?
Good that I'm not.
Yeah. You signed it.
Really cool.
You signed it, yeah. Anyway, we had a payment schedule, and it started October 1st of 2006 when we paid $3,934. But then from July 1st through July 1st of 2016, we paid $5,245 each year, which I think you probably know that, I don't know, which made a total of $56,384. And I guess it was for rent. I don't know, but that's what we paid from 2006 to 2016.
56 what?
56,384. And then we got an addendum to that lease, and we were told that now from July 1st to 2017, we would be paying $1 each year for our rent. Does that make sense? Have you ever seen that or heard that before? I don't know. I have the addendum.
17, is that when we cut your budget in half?
You know, that might be, because our budget was, I'll give an example, it was $10,000, say, and we paid, we got to keep the 5 and we paid back 5,000. It was kind of silly to get it all and then just turn around and have to write a check back to you. And that's, I think, what happened.
I'm pretty sure in 2017, that's when
Does that sound
budget was basically split in half, was cut in half.
Right.
And then had to pay $1 just for simple fact for our insurances.
Sure, sure. No, that makes total sense. Okay, so what I wrote, I wanted to say, so I got that out of the way. I know that the other thing is we are very lucky to be on the historical, the National Historic Preservation, because that really helps us to apply for grants and help with things. It's not perfect, but it really does help. The History Center and the History Foundation is a city department, which we're in chapter 28 of that. I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. And it lists the purpose and intent of the History Center, and our job is to collect and preserve historical memorabilia, to educate and share, to foster pride in the legacy and achievements of the past, and to welcome visitors. We've had visitors from all over the country and beyond. I mean, around the world. We have, during Ride Bride, they're coming from all over, and they see our History Center, and they think, wow, this little town has this? I can't believe it. Our guest book tells us, I went and just chose some random ones. 2011, we had 458 visitors. Of course, not everybody signs the book. To 2015, there were 304, 2020, 33. But that was the pandemic. From 2022 to the present day, we've had 219, so it's slowly building. I hope it gets back up there. People come to do research. We have 342 family binders. That's a lot of binders for families. So we have 26 binders of obituaries. So people could come in and do a lot of research. I was there at the end of February, and I had a family come in to do research on their family. They found some. It was not necessarily everybody in our town or in our area, but they did find some information to fill in some blanks for them and to go on to something else and to find it in elsewhere. We have also sections for the school, houses, farming, organizations, and businesses, all in this area. And churches, I mean, it's unbelievable all the things we have. People come during, of course, sauerkraut days, we have tea parties, we have speakers, special displays, and if we can get somebody that has put a display there to come and speak, that's a bonus. We don't always get that. The History Center has promoted and raised money for the clock in Lincoln Square. Remember that? Some of you will remember that. Being on the Lincoln Highway is a big plus because we get a lot of visitors that are just coming through. I'm following Lincoln Highway and I just, stopped in. That's really fun to talk to them. Cemetery walks were also very popular, and people have mentioned, wouldn't that be fun to do those again? But we need volunteers to help us get that going again, because it takes a lot of work. If anybody wants to come and read any of the cemetery walks that we did in the past, we do have the little booklets at the History Center. You can come and look at them. We did 6 each year we did them. Very cool, those cemetery luminaries that led you to each grave, and a family member or a close friend would tell the story of this person, which was really fun. We enjoyed it. This year I had the privilege of giving tours to the 3rd graders from Lisbon School. Oh, that was lots of fun. I took them through the History Center, told them what was in this area, what was in that area, told them look at the books, can you see your family name there? Let's go on back. We looked at the Lincoln Highway area, the kitchen area. Oh, the houses. We have books with houses. Maybe your house is in there. We went to the school area. We went back to the farm room. They love the chicken killer as always.
I still love the chicken killer.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then we skipped, I said, we're skipping this room, the military room, because I knew they'd love that. And we went on around and looked at the barns and other rural things and talked about the Korean, came back to the military, which some of the boys just stayed right there in the military just looking at it. It was really fun. They came back up and looked at their family books, looked for their house. One little girl came up and said, I can't find my house. And I said, well, where do you live? Oh, we live in the country. And I said, oh, I'm sorry, all the houses are from in town. But we started thinking maybe we could start some houses in the country, start buying with houses in the country for the kids. That would be great. And then in the next few weeks, we had several kids bring their parents or their grandparents and people in. That was really cool. I do have an email. This is from Emily Weisler. Weisler, I think it is. She said, she just was writing this to me, thanking, because she thinks it's really cool that we did this. She says, I absolutely believe the History Center is an asset to Lisbon. I've been teaching 3rd graders about history of Lisbon for 18 years. Each year during this study, the students are highly encouraged and say it is one of their favorite places. Not only has the History Center volunteers provided me with resources, information that I have used in my instruction, they also welcome our 3rd graders into their space and give them authentic and memorable experience that I could not do in the classroom. Many of the students tell their parents how great it is, and then she says the same thing. They go back to their family and then they bring them in. I'm thankful, and I get this all the time, how lucky we are to have this in our little town. And we made it a priority to preserve our history for the younger generations. So I don't know if that's really what you wanted to know, but here's my challenge to you guys, anybody here that's on the city. If you've not been to the History Center lately, some of you I know come in, you come for a meeting, you sit there and are in the meeting, and then you go home, just kind of like people do here, right? But, or you go in there and you talk to people, but you're not looking, I'm gonna give you a tour. So if you wanna come into the History Center and have a new tour, if you were there before and you still like the chicken pillar, there might be something else that you don't remember. I would like to give you a tour. It would be different than giving it to the third graders, because they came as a big group. It was 20 kids or something. So
Plus
it
they're
was.
smarter.
What's that?
Plus they're smarter.
Oh yeah, there might be some truth to that. But I would love to give you a tour. So I did see online that there is a way I can email you all and invite you. So you can give me a call. You can, if you want to do it during the week, I would even take a day off. I have tons of PTO. So give me a call. Let me know if you would be interested in coming for a tour for the History Center. I would love to show you what we have there so that you can share it with other people. Thank you. Is there anything else that we need to?
What days are you open?
Well, right now.
Not you, the History Center.
Right now, we're still on our pandemic schedule. We're Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday from noon till 3.
Is that posted in?
You know, it's
Large.
not, the door still says our original hours. There's a sticker on the door like that. I think we had it on the web, but you know, I tried to go to that today and I just couldn't get to it. I don't know if it was, you know, why. So it's something for us to look at too. Does that make sense? Any other thoughts?
It would be nice to have your hours prominent in front somewhere.
Well, like I said, they have the old hours. That's what's
That's what I
on the
mean.
door, yeah.
If you're
A bigger sign.
if you're not observing them, just a poster board.
A big sign in front of that. That sounds like a winner.
Is there any future as far as changing those hours back to non-pandemic hours?
You know, I would think so, just that during the week, I'm not there. And I don't know, there aren't very many that are in there at 10 o'clock in the morning. They have other things that they're doing. It was always Levon that came in, you know, and that type of thing, and there were more people. Right now, there aren't as many people. I will retire soon, maybe. I just keep working. But I would like to be there on Saturday. Even at 10 would be nice. The library's open, might get people in there. But we do get people. People come in at the last minute. They'll wait till after 2 o'clock and come in and have to donate something. And that's always fun too.
Do you work with, I noticed today because I was in the library, believe it or not, and Mrs. Briggs would just love that. But that's an inside joke. I noticed that they were open and the History Center wasn't, and they came in later.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be worth consideration of coordinating so that at least we have 2 open at the same time? I mean, it's
That's something they need to
it's
talk
just a
about.
thought,
Yeah,
but,
it is a good thought.
but you know, if I was driving into Lisbon saying, golly gee whiz, I wonder where Mike Williams lives, and I wanted to stop, I would want to see probably both.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, that would be nice. It's just, everybody has to be on board
I
with
understand.
that. And like I said, there's just not that many people right now, so
Well, and I
We'll
would think
talk
that
about it.
perhaps your hours could reduce in the wintertime.
yes, that would probably be true. There are history centers in the other smaller towns that are not open at all. They are open by appointment only.
Allowed them.
Yeah, and so they open
I
only
drove
that
down there
way.
to see it and they weren't open.
Yeah, I don't want to really do that. But that's just my thoughts. So, any other thoughts?
No, I think we just brought up how many people go in there and everything. I mean, we don't have the solution either.
Yeah.
I mean, we have hard enough time finding volunteers for some other our committees too. If we're just wondering, I don't know if we are, how is it we can get people to come in? I mean, that's the biggest question. I mean, I have the same problem when I have supper. You know, when I have supper, how do I get people to come in?
Right.
So that's just, you know, and that's gonna be something you and your board's gonna figure out, how are we gonna get these people to come in the door? You know, and I don't know if being open 7 days, 6 days a week is one of them. I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that completely, you know, the library can do that because you got a full-time paid position over there.
Right.
But I know, I mean, that was just one of our concerns is, you know, or when we're around town, we hardly ever see any people go in there. And to be honest with you, I don't see a lot of people go in the library either.
But they do, yeah, they do though.
And I know they do, but I mean,
A possibility for that is to maybe talk to Joe Jennison and see what CDG can do to help. That's what they're doing, is to help with tourism and such.
Thank you, that's a good
They
idea.
do have a volunteer recruitment night or day coming up, and I don't have the date right in front of me.
Maybe you could let me know what that is.
Contact Joe Jennison can tell you.
and I do that cemetery walk, because I know that was huge.
Yeah, that was pretty good, it was good.
Yeah.
What's that?
I thought it was a hoot.
Yeah, you played a part. Oh, and an update of the apartment, we caulked, Tony has said he has caulked the windows inside. And what else? Did you say it was, you didn't, that's all you did right now? Okay. So it's just a little bit of cleaning, mostly in the kitchen and just baseboards and stuff like that. And hopefully we can get that rented. So, just,
Is there just one apartment or two above that?
no, Harry has the other one. It's just it's a small one.
Efficiency,
Uh-huh.
a big one and an efficiency.
So you can try that out.
I didn't hear
No,
your
big
answer. Is there two or one?
It's two.
Yes.
There's a big
One
apartment.
is a regular apartment, the other one's a two, is an efficiency, and that's where Eric is, in the efficiency.
And we're in a position now that we'll be renting it, or they want
That's what
to repair the wall first?
Well, I think the other guy, he was smelling something, and that's why he left when the wall was being done, and that kind of scared him a little bit. So I don't know what they're going to do next. It may not scare the next person, you know? I don't know. And the windows are now caulked, so that will help a lot. The apartment's just a nice little apartment.
What was he smelling?
Well, he thought he was smelling fumes from whatever was going on to the brick outside. And then also his windows were covered. That probably kind of freaked him
Well,
out
they
a
kinda
bit
have to.
too,
Yeah.
you know, so. So the
So we
next,
need a couple of renters.
so I don't know if the next person I may not bother at all,
Yeah.
so. But we want to get it rented and.
And hopefully, April 1st, it should be ready to advertise.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for. Okay, I'll move my chair back.
Thank you.
All right, anybody got any questions for him? Thank you very much, Beth. Discussion of possible action in reference to approving quotes to repairs for the history center, to the history center.
So last meeting, I was given some instruction from the mayor and the council to seek out a realtor, a local realtor, just to get a cost opinion. I did that, and if you were so choose to sell the building, it would be priced somewhere in the $175,000 to $200,000 ballpark. Obviously, you're not going to necessarily get that per se, but that's where they advised they would do that. And they did advise that putting $100,000 in the building wouldn't raise the value any. However, it would potentially help you sell it because of the curb appeal, depending on what you did. So kind of what we were thinking. I also did, just to cover everything for the questions you guys had, there is 2 additional quotes. Well, first off, I spoke to the contractor from TNT, and I spoke to Randy Williams from R&W, and Randy is on, I believe that's the one that says Willie. He is on here for any questions that you have, but both contractors that I spoke to advised that the north part of the wall where the crack is by the window, that does need to be taken down and rebuilt right there, like we kind of talked about last time. However, both contractors said that the paint does not need to come off in order to do that. And let's see here. And then I also did provide a quote. Somebody had asked about siding. That's also included in here. The Randy Williams R&W quote for just fixing the back wall, or that back portion, not the spot bricks, is also in here.
What do you mean by that, the back portion?
Not the back, the north part of the west wall, where I just talked about where the crack is, where it looks like it's pulled away. I know Doug had asked about structurally sound. Both contractors said the building is very structurally sound. They've seen a lot worse. They've done work on a lot worse. But that back portion would need to be fixed before we move forward, no matter which way you went. And they also both recommended it'd be a good idea to fix before you did sell it or anything like that.
Is it on the west wall, Brandon?
It's the west wall right underneath the last set of windows on the north side.
Facing the west or on the north?
It's on the west side.
Okay.
But on the far north end, right before it meets the siding, there's a crack where it's kind of,
Oh,
basically
yeah,
moisture's gotten
yeah.
behind it and it freezes and it kind of pushes it out a little
I
bit.
know what you're talking about now.
So anyway, and then everything else from last meeting is in there as well. So that's kind of the updates there. I don't know what discussion we'll have, any questions.
Well, I've got some questions. We didn't see the revised, we didn't know he was getting revised quotes on this. And so, when you're not going to take care of all of it, that doesn't follow what we wrote the grant for, and so they would pull the grant from us.
So we'd have to pay that.
We'd have to give back the money back.
How much was that?
$22,000.
How much? How much was it?
I think, what?
22,000?
Yeah, that'd be the $22,000 grant.
There's an additional $5,000 grant that was received by the History Center Foundation for the masonry work on that project. And it was written with the understanding that we would proceed with the project as we had originally planned. And to talk about what we had originally planned, we wrote the HRDP grant and the city administrator approved that before we sent it in. If we didn't think that the city would be able to follow through on the project as planned and as we intended, we never would have spent the time writing that grant. And we certainly would not want to forfeit that grant. That does not bode well for our city and certainly not for our organization.
What happens when if we don't use the grant money and give it back? Then the state organization gets that much taken off of their budget for the next year for giving out grants. So everybody else gets hurt, and plus Lisbon will never get a grant from them again.
First of all, I'd like to say I kind of take offense in saying that we weren't ever going to do it. So we were going to do it.
Oh, right,
You don't
no.
want- But when we
did.
did the library, we got that done, but then we're going to have $120,000 into the History Center. I mean, when we started this, it wasn't even close to that, you know. So I don't feel that's very fair to us to say, you know, Brandon signed a piece of paper, and if we had no intent of ever doing it, we shouldn't have ever did that. That ain't fair to us. I mean, we had no idea
Right.
how much this was gonna cost us. You know, and I and 5 other people over here, we have to take care of the money for this whole town, not just this history center, not just the library, not just these buildings down here. So I mean, I really take offense to that, to say that we did not have any intention to do it, because we did, and we still might do it.
Oh, I do think you did have every intention of doing this. I mean, the council wanted to do it, you were very encouraging. And what it is, you know, so, yeah, and what happened is not enough paint came off with that first stripping. That's what's adding on to it. It's adding on another $30,000 to it, is what's going on.
Well, is it necessary to have that paint come off? I realize that you'd like to have the soft brick there, but that building there isn't soft brick all the way to the alley. Those two are shanties added on the back that Al Wilson did.
Those are wood.
Yeah, that's what I say.
I know.
Al Wilson lined that on, all along.
But we're not gonna brick, I don't think we're gonna brick those two.
Yeah, we're just looking at the
Yeah,
brick
we're
part
just
of it.
looking at what brick's showing right now.
Right.
Now, Brandon, to go back to your comment about one of your quotes, when the guy said about repairing it, the paint didn't have to be removed.
So, and Randy's on here, he can chime in at any time. So, you know, they were asking me to get all these different quotes. Well, Randy said if you're gonna do a siding or something else, you wouldn't have to fix those spot bricks. So
Right,
that's what the additional
right.
quote is. So if
Because
they
you-
wanted to go siding, you needed an additional quote
Right.
to do the work underneath.
But
that.
I'm referring to, is that what he's referring to, is if we go to some other covering other than the brick?
Yeah, Randy, are you on there?
I think he might have nodded off.
Separate break, oh,
Yeah.
there he is.
Randy, you there?
I'm here.
Did you hear that question?
I did, about covering the brick.
Yep.
For one thing, on a historical building, I'd never suggest covering brick. I mean, that's the whole thing about a historical building, showing the brick off. So, you know, covering it up, you're just covering up history, you know? I mean, I would never recommend putting siding on. I know it's cheaper for you to do that. If that's what you decide, you still have to fix the crack that's coming out and the coping tile up on top where all the water's coming down in at. You know, if you put siding on, you still have to repair some of the damage that came top of that crack that's there because it sticks out about 3 inches.
Randy, I think the question is, we don't have to remove the rest of the paint to fix that, correct?
Well, no,
Okay.
Yeah,
anything would cover the paint.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to, is do you as a contractor have to remove broken brick because of the lead paint?
Oh, no, there's no issue with that. I mean, removing brick and keeping the lead paint on, you don't want to remove the red paint and just replace a bad brick. I mean, we can do that.
Yeah, okay, thanks, that's what I wanted to know.
But you do have to remember that coping tile on the top. That's where a lot of the water's coming from. That has to be taken care of to keep the cracks from getting any bigger.
Right.
I mean, you can side over that or do whatever you want, but the water's still coming in from the top, and that's gotta be taken care of.
Right.
So, I mean, however you wanna go, we can do whatever you need to have done.
So do we have a firm bid on completing it?
I got 2.
Yep.
Because I don't look at this thing, hasn't it?
You actually got 3. You got 1 for siding and 2 bids for doing it. I mean, either way, if we, no matter what, we're gonna have to tuck one.
The back, the north side of the west wall, the north end of it, that needs addressed. Regardless of anything, at a minimum, that has to be addressed.
Yeah.
For both contractors,
Yeah.
I mean, want to continue to,
And one of the contractors is 49,000, the other one, I can't, was 32,000, I think the other one was.
That's where the brick's coming away from the wall, right?
Well, then they've also
Yes.
got, in the newest, I have the TNT newest one, I didn't know that R&W had, but they still have the 40% spot tuck pointing.
Well, there's only one the only newest bid that we have is just the one that correlated with the siding. If they wanted to go the siding route,
Right.
that's the R&W one. Otherwise, they're all the same.
I don't have any, I didn't see anything from, I never got anything from mine.
That, he sent it to you and I both.
I didn't get R&W, I got TNTs.
The original. There wasn't another one from TNT. It was just the one that you provided.
No, I've got one for dated 3/6 from TNT.
That's the only one. The one where we discussed in here with those amounts, that's all the same. And the R&W one's all the same. The only additional quote that I received was the one from R&W if they wanted to site it, not do the whole project.
Well, I've got one here that does not include the stripping, and it's got the base bid, and it doesn't include, what is it? Replace all damaged brick as well as the section on the north end. This is just replacing the brick in the section of the north end. It's not replacing damaged brick throughout.
The one we have
Who's
is
that one from, Becky?
the one we have is from
TNT for 42,916.
So you don't have like,
the one we have still is the 224 one. That's the only one I have.
224.
Dave,
Well,
The
you and I both received this one from TNT.
On 224.
On 3/6/2023, and I didn't receive anything from R&W.
so let me
On
ask,
January 31st?
No, this is dated March 6th.
The one from
The
March 6th.
proposal
is-
itself is March 6th?
This latest revision that he responded to Brandon, apparently it was a phone call or something.
That was the one he sent. I apologize. TNT sent, that goes the one with the siding. So then, the one from the 24th is the one that was in here previous.
Right,
That talks
That's
about,
right.
yes,
right.
yep. Sorry, it was TNT that got the bid for the one that would correlate with the siding. So that one on 3/6 is just if they ever went that route, otherwise that one's really no good. It's the ones from the 224.
Well, I mean, and when you look at the numbers, the difference is, what is it? Like $6,500 to
Yeah,
not go ahead and take care of the rest.
Basically what it was excluding the spot checking and then what
Right.
you mentioned with the other stuff. So yeah, it was very, very
Yeah,
minimal.
minimal.
Right. The big part of the whole bill is the crack.
Right. Right, because it has to be completely taken off and so.
you gonna get your sister or not?
when,
I'm just kind of coming in on the end of this, I've been following this in the paper. How much are you talking to redo the rest of the building back to brick? Do you have an idea or?
Let me ask a question right there,
Okay.
because my question is different than yours, but it boils in. What's the rest of the building?
Well,
Because that whole back
is not included.
is not included.
It's just the brick
It's just the
west
Just the
wall.
brick building itself, or goes back to the siding,
Yeah.
is not involved in this.
and my feeling is, like me, don't like me, I think siding is the way to go. I know it's a historical building, you want to keep it historical, but you only have to go to the other end of the block to Travis Howland's building to see that that is not a historical replacement. And when we allowed him to do his building like that, I was on the council at the time, and what was put on was not what he had showed us at the council meeting, or told, for planning and zoning, I think it was. It's not what he had proposed to us. So to say that, and I understand it being historical and all that, and God bless, God forgive me, Mom, if you're gonna strike me down, but, I think she would agree with me saying that we just can't keep pouring money into the outside of a building that's just gonna do what it's doing, and I think, my example is over in Mount Vernon, if you go to Lee's Town and Country or Coldwell Bankers, where they've got the white siding and it's got the sandstone down below. I don't see anything wrong with that happening on this building at all, and I think it would tie in nicely. And the other thing is, how long would you give a homeowner to leave their home looking like that before you did something to them?
Quite a few in this town that are that way.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I'd say that, you know, the city could encourage people by taking care of their building. We're trying to get everybody downtown to get these grants that the city's offering, to get their buildings looking good, to encourage people to get businesses in the building. One building on Main Street has just recently sold, I'm told, and someone's gonna move a business, I don't know what it's gonna be or anything, but on Main Street, that's encouraging. It's right in the, smack dab in the middle of the downtown that we got, you know, the historic district. Everybody driving out to the sports complex is gonna be driving down Highway 1 off of 30. Not all of them are gonna be coming that way, but you know. And there they're gonna see our downtown with, you know, siding on the side with, we've got signs for a historic district, and there we've got siding on it.
And what are you gonna do with the building that's already got the siding on it?
Travis Allen's building is not a contributing building to the historic district.
It's part of the historical building.
Well, I'd like to see us fix what needs to be fixed, do the tuck pointing, use that grant money. And it's done, it shouldn't keep creating problems if it's
Right.
done right. And we've got competent people bidding this. Let's move forward, because there's more to it than what the building is worth now or could be worth. It's in a prime location, and we've already sunk a lot of money into it. The History Center has sunk a lot of money into the inside with the heating and cooling and flooring, to name a few things they've worked on. I'm still in favor of moving ahead.
Well, I think when it's done, it'll be a showpiece. It'll look real,
Yeah, I think.
you know, then you'll have the 3 corner buildings downtown that will look good. It'll, you know, make it look like we've got
And we
we've
do
got
have-
hope for our downtown.
Yeah. I'd rather not cite it, I'd rather do it.
I think what we have to really kind of pay attention to, this is the taxpayers' money that we're dealing with, and maybe we need to get more community involved with it and find out, you know, take a survey and see what the community wants to do. Because honestly, it's hard for me to approve something like this, not knowing, because we had this before, not knowing if that paint is going to continue to come off. We were told that the paint will come off, and the paint didn't come
In the
off.
proposal, he said that it would, probably 60% of it would come off.
But we asked you guys if there was a guarantee, and you're like, well,
I would never say there was, because I knew that he said
but
that. He said that
we
we'd
never
be
heard
at
the 60%. We never heard the 60%. But this was my fear of exactly what would happen, and I sat here and said, my fear is that we're gonna remove this paint, and then we're going to have all these issues come forward. And there is going to be a lot more money that is gonna have to go towards this, the History Center. And that was my exact words sitting right here.
I'm not in favor of pursuing removing any more paint. I think we've done what's loose. We just need to encapsulate what's there so it doesn't.
Problem is to encapsulate, if you look on the latest TNT, which is what you had before, is that if the paint's off, then it costs $5,725 to clear coat it. If the paint's not off, then it's gonna be $24,138 to encapsulate it.
Why the difference?
It's the difference in the products.
that they're have to use.
Yeah, to encapsulate it.
So the cost of taking off the rest of the paint to bear, I just
You ain't
want
gonna,
to-
you ain't gonna get a contractor to give you 100%.
No, but it's in the $5,000 range, is that what you're telling me?
No, that's the ceiling of it.
What is the cost?
29,000 to 43 to 44,000.
You take the rest of the paint off.
Take the rest of the paint. Randy, what's a realistic prognosis on the paint, on how much you can get off?
Well, all that paint can come off. The paint, when you use a stripper, it takes one coat off at a time. So when you got 2 and 3 coats on the building like you do, as you can see the different colors as they took the first coat off, you have several coats underneath that. The stripper that we use only takes one coat off at a time. So until you know how many coats of paint you got, you don't know how many times you're stripping the building. And until you strip the building, you don't know what kind of issues you got on your brick and on your mortar joints until you can get the paint off to see what's there. Otherwise, it's covering up all the damaged brick, it's covering up your damaged mortar joints. And that's why you can't get a good bid on tuck pointing and replacing brick till you get the paint off to see what kind of damage there is there. Except for the obvious crack, of course, that you see. So I mean,
Well, Al doesn't have very much paint on that building, I guarantee you that.
what's that?
The original owner didn't have very much paint on that building. He was pretty frugal.
It doesn't matter. You gotta get a tuck point in either way. Tuck point in one way and decided one TNT would be 71,721. R&W would be 71,595. So, I mean, you're only talking a difference of basically keeping it brick. You're only talking $25,000 for, $15,000 for one, and $28,000 for another one. And that's tuck pointing it and getting it brick and everything, which is R&W would be the difference of approximately $15,000, and the difference between TNT is 28, something like that.
Randy, your quote for 32,500, it says to remove all the paint. Is that what you're saying? You would be there until it's gone?
Yeah, as you recall, we talked about speckles, like when you get down to the very last where there's speckles that have dug into the core of the brick where it's so rough, like your mortar joint also, that you gotta grind the mortar joints out. That's why I think I put 50% grinding on the building, didn't I? Approximately 50% grind, tuck pointing.
Yes.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken, so, that's an estimate, just because you don't know how bad it's gonna be until you take the paint off. So that could even be a little bit different if you don't point that much. And I went according to the brick that you have listed as 670 some brick that need to be taken out. Are you talking just the painting though? The painting we can do it, the thing is you might have to stain some of the brick that's got speckles on it, so all the paint comes off 100% or is covered up.
So you're saying that if there are small speckles of paint that you can't get out without damaging the brick, there's a stain that you stain them or paint them?
Correct.
You
Stain
just
those
stain
bricks.
the little bits of white? Okay.
Oh, that's all included on there.
Why would you have to stain the spackles if they're that small?
Well, just if there's a
Because
bunch of them,
like those speckles on your building.
white
And
shows up.
they're so small that they're built into the core of the brick because
Right.
they're rough. And you would destroy the brick if you kept trying to strip it off with strippers. Like you destroy the brick, what you don't want to do. So, I've worked a lot of these jobs, all these stripping, you never get 100%. You get a lot of little speckles once in a while, and you stain them with the same color the brick is, you'll never know the difference. And Schiphol, I've done it for Schiphol, I've done it for several state and federal projects, that require historical, everything's done by the Historical Society, and it's gotta be done right. Your tuck pointing's gotta be done with line putty instead of regular Portland mortar, and that's a bigger cost. You know, that's why with this historical grant money, you gotta put line putty back in there. Like I'm sure Dave Arbugas was one person that I talked with, and he recommended you put line putty back in it. That's almost 25% more cost than it would be to put a type O mortar in there. So I mean,
After this is all done properly, if we were to go ahead, how long would it be before further tuck pointing and work would be needed?
I can guarantee my work for 15, 20 years.
So
If you do it right, if it's done right.
Yeah.
Randy, I got a question for you. So, I'm looking into the future, right? So, if, let's say we get all the paint removed, or just leaving the speckles, is there a possibility that we may run into other bricks that need fixed?
Oh yeah, the paint could be covering up bricks that need to be fixed. I pointed that out. A lot of people paint their buildings like that to cover up bad brick. But I've worked on a lot of buildings, and that building is in very good shape compared to, you know, that one crack. I mean, you see that when someone cracks 4 or 5 times worse in 3 or 4 places in buildings like that. That's 3/4 thick of brick. So that building's in great shape. That foundation and that brick, I mean, for that big a wall, and that long, and that tall, it's in good shape. You don't have a lot of brick that are bad. It's mostly the return to the windows, your cracks, and a few here and there from salt damage and along the bottom. I mean, other than that, you know, 600-700 brick to put in the building, I put that in one spot before. That's not much, that's a good building, good shape building. I mean, to cover it up, protect it, the siding, that would be, you know, the cheaper way to go, no doubt, but that would take care of all your historical look and your money from your historical society and everything else that you could probably even get down the line yet from other parts of the building. I think people spend $400,000 or $500,000 in the buildings that you're saying it's worth 180, 190, but that's just because it's historical. They get federal grant money. They don't. A lot of these places get a lot of good federal grant money to do these buildings because federal people want these buildings to stay up, and they know they've lasted 130, 40 years now. So you know, there's something they've done right. Just keeping the water out of them and keeping the water from getting behind them. That's the main thing.
Thank you, Randy. So basically, here we got 2 bids to do it all completely down the brick. You got one bid to site it, and with that siding, you're going to have.
I didn't get nothing to sign.
Yeah, I know you did. And then,
Oh, okay.
And then with that siding, you will have to have it tuck pointed. So basically, that's what your options are.
Yeah.
And I need something going forward with. We've been
Well, I
kicking this
want to know
around
what
for-
we have as part of the budget.
We've been kicking this around forever.
What can we afford this year?
Well, we can't afford just a little bit of it this year. We either do it all or none of it.
So
We-
we've got
we can't be at
some,
that-
there's some left in the building budget now that we can put towards the stripping, right? Do we have that covered? Did we just talk
Yes.
about that, Brandon?
So-
That's covered.
Yes, and then there's some funds from the library that we're gonna do that we still have to do. However, they did get some grant money. So there was roughly about $10,000 left out of the library fund that could potentially be used from their West Wall fund on this. The one thing is, I will add the damage up on the the south end of the lower level where it goes up, where the roof's crinkled. We did have a contractor finally get out to us. It's gonna cost $4,800 to fix that. I think that's a must to get that taken care of. So if you were to take the bids, and whether you want to take R&W has the low paint bid, TNT has the low brick bid. The paint bid's about $11,000 cheaper. The brick bid, going with the other company, is about $5,000 cheaper. So I would think you would want to do this all together. That's kind of what we talked about, having one contractor do.
I would rather see one
contractor.
So if you did that, and with the roof needing fixed, with what's budgeted this year that you could use and what's budgeted next year, you're gonna be about 15 to 20,000 shy. And that includes, that includes the grant, with the grant money,
Right,
which is
27.
27 with the 2 to 5, and where some of this is, when you do this with the grant, we had to get a consultant that we have to pay.
Right.
That's included into that 15 to 20 where we're short.
Okay,
I believe that was 6,700.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So you're looking probably, let's just go higher, $20,000 short to start tomorrow and have it done.
Unless they were to find more brick that needed,
Once the
you
paint's
know, once the paint's removed.
I mean, actually looking at the building, though, I mean, I've moved it up paint, they've already moved one layer of paint, which brought out a lot of the visibility of some of the brick. I don't see any more brick coming out than that 670 or whatever you predicted that I put in there. I really don't. I mean, just from looking at that building.
Right, yeah.
Randy, like how much, okay, 670, how much would it be more, like, to replace 100 more bricks?
It's federal down.
Well, isn't there a unit price in there per brick, $20 or $25 a brick?
Yeah, it says that.
Don't I have a unit price?
It did say that?
Yeah, it's $25.
Okay, sorry.
Well, so much a brick after the 670 or whatever it is.
Yeah, okay.
If this comes in lower than estimated, then the total bill's gonna be lower, right?
If it comes in, you mean lower than the 50% cut point and 670 brick? We would lower that price if it wasn't that many. We would go just, do the same. Because a lot of times I won't give a bid on tuck pointing and replacing brick unless I've seen the brick after the paint's off. But you had a price there for how many brick you figured were gonna come out, and I went with that.
So what's the plan with the yellow siding?
That's staying there, the back end's staying there.
It's
We're not
staying
touching
just like it is?
It is.
Okay.
So this is basically fix that wall, fix that little hump up there. You got two choices. You either fix it down to brick, or tuck point it, and put siding over it. You get one for, gonna be 71,000, the other one's gonna be 71,000, and then you got one for put down to brick at 99,000 or 86,000. We need to move on this.
Well, so basically what Brandon said is that with the grants and everything involved in what we've got left in the budgets, to start tomorrow, I mean, and one company would just take care of the whole project, and the balance that we need to come up with is $15,000.
And that's including next year's budget too?
Yeah.
So that would wipe you out of next year's budget?
Well, that's the buildings budget.
Yeah, I'm just saying that
That would be
that's,
the west wall fund
Right.
for each.
yes.
So no work could be done on the library, no work could be done, additional work
Right.
on the history center.
And
Right.
so what happens if there is an emergency and something needs to be done on the history center? That is,
Well, it's the same.
I mean, you know what I mean?
I understand what you're saying, so, but it's the same thing as Travis having, using this whole sewer budget.
Yeah, I get that. I
We do
just,
have a maintenance line, we do have a general maintenance for the history
Right,
center. This
right.
is just its own line item, west wall fund, it's got its own number, that's what that's for. So if there was a window blew in, whatever the case may be,
the maintenance.
that would be the
cover it.
maintenance, just like we would if it happened at Southeast Lynn, or, just like we're having to do with the roof.
Oh,
Right, damaged road is insurance.
So just so I'm correct with this, for the paint removal and the brick removal, or the brick, for TNT brick restoration, TNT, the two bids together is with the discount is $86,901, and R&W
Yes,
would be $85,800.
yes. I've got
That's
50 I got,
removing the paint and fixing the brick and tuck pointing.
Yes.
yes.
So we
that's
end up with a
what-
building looking like the library.
Right.
I'll make a motion
You got a motion?
to have R&W complete project.
I got a motion for RW to do the project, do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second. Mike,
Aye.
Rick,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Sarah.
Aye.
Go fix it. Keep going.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, so,
And the building
is that
things.
Randy?
Any dollar you can make for us
It's RW, Randy.
is
Yeah.
a good
So
thing.
Randy,
Put your heads
Brandon
together.
will try
Well,
Randy
here,
to-
I would suggest, if we're gonna be 20,000 shy of this, I would put your heads together and do some fundraising.
Randy, I guess you got the bid, so Brandon will bring it down to you somehow.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you very much for your insight.
Thanks, Randy.
Thanks for your help, Randy.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you.
Discussion of possible reference for quoting sidewalk, approving quotes for sidewalks at City Hall. Let's go a little bit quicker.
All right.
3 bids.
So you got 3 bids in front of you. This would include the apron at City Hall, or at the fire station, coming down to parking lot entrance. What's that? By Lloyd's. By Lloyd's. It would include the curb. It would include up to City Hall. There is a square section you saw on that picture. That is going to probably be river rock instead of grass, but we haven't, we'll talk about that, just like we wanted to put river rock out here, so.
We're gonna have more road curb than we have out here now.
No, so basically the entrance coming off of Washington isn't gonna be there anymore, because we
Okay.
can't meet ADA.
Okay,
And then we're gonna reduce the size of the concrete area,
okay.
so it'll be less concrete.
So what caused that to break up like that? That's the worst piece of concrete.
This piece out here, right in front, I know exactly when they did that. When they had the crane in here to
When they were building this.
put the cement building, I told Chris Yancey, I said, take pictures of it, because he's breaking it.
Okay.
So is that
'Cause I've never seen one
the
break
fire
that
hydrant,
bad
the fire
before.
station pad, that's sticking up to 6 inch?
Yeah, it's all, yep, 6 inches. That's,
So it'll be basically from that, there's a cut by the siren, it won't include the siren, it'll be from that cut. This way.
Need a motion.
I make a motion
So
that
there's still 3 bids there in front
I,
of you.
yeah,
So, you know,
When will this be able to start?
as soon as the weather straightens out here, and we asked weather pending that they be done by May 1st. July 1st, sorry.
July, but we're also gonna try to work this in with the water main project too, because we sure as heck don't want this to be nice and then
right,
have to rip it out again. So that'll be,
makes sense.
yeah.
But it has to be done by
It'll be
summer.
done
Yeah,
by-
it's gonna be done by summer projects for sure.
Do I get a mo-
I make a motion to award the bid to Buttress Construction.
I got a motion, do I have a second? Second. A motion and a second, Sarah.
Aye.
John.
Aye.
Ricky. Aye. Mike.
Aye.
All right. See how easy this is? You guys just don't argue. Discussion possible action reference approving quote for tree removal for water main project. Travis?
All right, these are, so when we started this project 100 years ago, that was before the derecho, there was a lot more trees involved in this than what it was. After the derecho, they brought the number back and they still wanted to take 200 more trees down to put the water main in green space. I said we can't justify losing another 200 trees after we lost what we had. So these trees are marked on this map here, these are ones that are,
This map over
The
there.
map over there
Yeah.
that's rolled up.
If
It's
you want
easier
to
to
talk,
see
you
it,
gotta come up
it's
to the
easier to
mic.
see if you flatten it out.
You guys should have had this sent to you in one of the packets, but the red marks are the trees and the stumps that we gotta get down. Eric from B&K and myself, we drove around, I don't know, probably 15, 20 times, trying to reduce and minimize the impact, save the trees that we can save. We've had multiple people come in and look at the trees we are gonna take to make sure that we are taking a tree that's either one that's potentially towards the end of its growth spurt or one that can be replaced relatively easily, so.
Well, I have one selfish question. Are my trees going? And
Yes, those two little trees are going.
thanks. I just got them bought so I can get some shade.
Yeah.
I'll do some palm trees. So these are the trees that you have determined need to come down? and-
They have to keep the water main in the green space,
Okay.
and it's not cost effective to put them into the street. Whereas some places we opted to keep the water main in the street because it was gonna be less damage and less cost to keep it in the street than it was to take the tree down.
This bid's 33,000. Where's it coming from?
No, so this will all be covered under the water main, but there's multiple bids here. There's the 33,170 from Erlacher's.
Yep.
And then there's a bid for 30,016 from Advantage Tree. There's one that I gave you tonight
Yeah.
for
The Tree
33.
Fellas?
Yeah, Tree Fellas. And then the additional one is from Psy for 29,500. And we request that you approve the one for Psy. He is the lowest, and he's done a lot of work in town and works well with.
So is he gonna grind
Stumps everything.
Yep.
They will not pick up the stump debris because obviously we're gonna be trenching through there and hauling that stuff out anyways.
Put all the wood's gone?
Yeah, all the wood will be gone.
I'll make a motion, you get the bid decide for $29,500.
I second that motion.
Got a motion, second, Sarah.
Aye.
Mike. Rick. John.
Aye.
So public hearing for adoption of comprehensive plan for April 10, 2023.
All right, we had a meeting with P&Z. P&Z had adapted this about a week ago and requested the council adopt this. This is the comprehensive plan we've been working on, seems like forever. So we need that motion to make that for April 10th.
Motion to make, set the public hearing.
I make a motion to set the public hearing for the adoption of comprehensive plan for April 10th, 2023.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Discussion possible action in reference to posts for summer help.
So last year, we had 2 summer help kids, 16 years of age, without license. With the water main project and the well project, and being down currently 1 maintenance personnel, I request that we hire 3 summer helps this summer. And this would be from as soon as school gets out through usually sauerkraut days, or if they can stay longer, we have them stay for a week or 2 longer. And then the additional post would be more for an operator position, seasonal. This typically, unless we're in a pinch, we don't usually put the 16-year-olds on the mowers and whatnot. So this position would be 18 years and older, and this would be for mainly mowing, but could be used for other things as needed too.
So, I got a question.
Yeah.
The kids you hired last year, how old are they? Should be 18.
17, potentially could be 18, depending on their situation.
And they won't have nothing to do with the water main or sewer project?
No.
You know if any of those kids are
I guess,
interested?
when you do a project like that, what's the, I guess, why is the,
Why the need?
yeah, why are you asking for more?
Well, we're gonna have to have 1 person basically dedicated to that, 1 maintenance personnel is gonna be dedicated to that project. So, where somebody could be helping empty the trash, doing things at the park, painting. You know, we're short one, we're gonna have one dedicated to the project the vast majority of the time. So essentially, that's only gonna leave 2 others.
Drayton's gonna be mowing every day.
To do it. And Drayton's not available with everything he has, which is why then we added a whole bunch more. So that's what the second posting is for.
So the water main people just don't take care of the water main stuff?
I mean, what are you asking?
No,
I mean,
like,
it's-
Here's what I'm asking, when I was in the maintenance, when they did that, the company did it. We didn't have to stand there and watch them.
Right, and then there was no guarantee, we also got left with what's called spade, junk. So,
I'm just asking.
I mean, we have to be sure that the samples are taken.
They do that, when they do it.
No, we pull the samples here, they don't do that. The tests, we gotta verify the tests are done. The amount of rules and regulations between now and even in the 80s, has tripled, I mean, it's not.
What I asked, I didn't know.
I mean, we ain't gonna have a guy down the hole work,
No,
per se.
no, but I just think, I just think we, the ones that are gonna be doing a lot of mowing and stuff, I thought that's what we hired the summer kids for.
They gotta be a certain age to get.
We can have, certainly, I mean, it's kind of, everybody kind of helps each other out. I mean, you know, if we have somebody sick or gone, yeah, there's gonna be some, especially I'm hoping that the 2 kids that were here last year come back, and those kids would be, you know, I wouldn't have an issue.
They'd be seniors this year, right?
I wouldn't have an issue putting them on a mower. So, I'm just trying to get enough bodies to make sure we have enough to get everything
So what kind of wage you want to this third person?
Well, I'm actually just trying to get the approval of this, but the other one's gonna be like a 30-hour position, and that's gonna be from like, I don't know, ideally April 1st, April 15th through the end of October, probably up to 30 hours a week at $15 to maybe $18 an hour.
It's just a fraction of what it costs for a full-time
Geez, I just apply for that.
So that's about your little benefits, right?
You guys keep under 30.
I'll tell you what, just move this thing along, I'll make a motion, you do it.
Second.
Okay, a motion, a second.
So to go to 3.
Yep.
And then one of the
And when
others.
it's done, when it's over, it's over. But, like you just said, August through
Well,
April 15th.
April 15th
so
through.
the ones that are, the regular summer help, the 3, would be as soon as school's out until school starts.
Right.
And then the other person,
I don't know when school starts, but I'd like to have them here up to like sauerkraut days, because that helps these guys out, not moving stuff around.
yeah, and we can get into that when we get, I'm just, really all I'm approving is to get the ad in the paper. We can.
Okay, got a motion, and a second. All in favor?
I
Get that, Christine?
got it.
Public hearing, approve resolution 07, 2023 property limit for rental inspection fees.
So today, we did receive one inspection fee from this individual on a different house. We've sent him and contacted him numerous times, so we contacted him again today. He's actually coming to town next week, and he's willing to pay all this. So what I would like to do is make this effective on or after April 15th. So we'll give him 30 days to pay this before we do it. So if we haven't received it by April 15th, we'll proceed forward. Or if you want to wait and table it, since he's now saying he's going to, but he's already been given the time frame.
Basically, within 30 days, and then it's gonna go.
Correct. So if you approve it on or after April 15th, then you can either take care of it or
On or before?
on or after.
Oh,
That would give him 30 days.
Okay.
So moved.
Got a motion, and a second, John.
Aye.
Rick? Sarah?
Aye.
Correspondence?
So you probably saw the email from Laura Boxa, about parking downtown. So I did talk to Laura after talking to Travis and Chief Shannon. So what we'd like to do is, without changing any ordinance that I could find, we'd like to change the no parking signs on Washington Street from Main to Market and just remove those no parking 2 to 6 in that area, which would accommodate her request. If it expanded where we needed more, we could then move south of there. But Travis said he could work with it through winter. If there is a snow emergency, it would still apply, so the cars would have to be out of there, so that wouldn't be a factor. And I've spoken to Laura about it. She's agreeable with that. And she also will let her tenants know that they can park in City Hall lot or as a last resort during the snow emergency. But that's also an issue too, because we have to clear that lot. So that's going to be a last resort for anybody. But we do have one car currently that does that. So.
You mean the one that's here all the time?
No, that's a different one.
That ought to be taken care of.
Do you think we could just change it to March or November through March? No parking on Main Street from?
Well, then she's gonna have this issue of where she's gonna have her tenant. Now, it's not on us to do that, but her request is she don't have, so right now she's got one
She's got one parking spot.
parking spot, but if she's got a tenant that's coming with 2 cars, you know, a husband, wife, or what have you. So she doesn't have a, you know, there's
It's
no
hard for her
place.
to rent out if
And
somebody.
I think people in the past have parked on other people's property, and that's becoming an issue now, so, that's why she sent the email. I talked to Doug about, they do parking permits over in Mount Vernon, and he's not a fan of it, because it's a nightmare, he said. So I was just trying to brainstorm what would be the easiest for everybody. And 2 to 6, you know, like we were kind of talking, well, we better check the businesses. Well, not at the 2 to 6, nothing's open anyway. So you're not, anybody, those tenants could park there all day long on all those streets. So really, it just comes down to, I think, why the 2 to 6 was for snow or street sweeping or cleaning. And I think, let's say even like sauerkraut days and stuff like that, she knows that, you know, they gotta be out of there, and if we need to clean streets for whatever reason or have a situation, we can get in contact with the landlords to contact the residents. But we just thought this was the simplest thing and probably the best. I mean, I'm all ears for any other ideas.
I think it's a good idea, but it's my understanding it's not the city's responsibility to provide parking for off-street parking for the tenants. And I don't know what the possibility is for her to cement another parking place or whatever is required behind the building.
If you look, like on the assessor side, I looked at it, I mean, it's tight. I mean, there's, and the problem with how it is if one person parked, like if she parked double, then like, I think it was Doug couldn't get to his spot, and then somebody else couldn't get to theirs because of how the lots lay back there.
The librarian owns most of that.
Yeah, the history, or the,
She sold it.
Southeast Lynn.
Southeast Lynn's got a chunk along there too, and it's like the width of a car.
I was gonna say, they don't have a chunk.
No, it's just, but there's not a lot back there, but then when you start, I mean, realistically, for her, like, I think it's Doug that has to go through hers to get to his, as it stands, and then those angled parkings, those angled spots back there, those are the, you know, those are the ones that I think the new business who's bringing his business to town, he's gonna need those, so that's where it's becoming the issue, so.
I'll make a motion. We don't?
No, it's not an ordinance.
No.
I just take the parking out from the north and south
I
side.
just wanna make sure we're good with it.
Is that right? Sound good?
Okay.
As long as I'm good with it, as long as Travis is good with it, as far as snow removal and stuff.
Well, it's still gonna be on snow route.
Right, but we have some people that don't like to follow that, so. Just throwing it out there.
Anything else, Brandon?
No, I think that's it.
City engineer.
He is on vacation today, but I do have, I can just give you, it's gonna be kind of in mind. I know last time it was talked about the Highway 30 overlay project. If you noticed, in the sun, Mount Vernon did Palisades Road, and that did, they approved it, but it did come in 100,000 over what they anticipated. Dave said he was gonna contact a local contractor and have a discussion with him just to see what he can do for the price of asphalt for an overlay. Water main project could start as soon as April 3rd. And the well casing and whatnot has been ordered, so as soon as that gets in and they get the equipment, then they can start on that. So I think that's all for Dave. Yep.
Public work.
Dealing with a lot of bids lately. Brush pickup started again, so just tell everybody to keep that conscious how it's supposed to be stacked. We're gonna work on leaves again, weather permitting. So we know if we have a nice weekend, we'll go out afterwards and work on those. And then we're replacing the dump at the splash pad. Drayton found warranty on the deal, so you want to tell them about it a little bit, Drayton?
Yeah, I can't remember, what was it called off the top of my head, I always get it confused. It's not identical to what we have, but it's similar to what we have. And it's gonna be covered completely under warranty, which is, we weren't sure if that was gonna be the case, because the one that we ordered was 8 years old. We thought it would be longer than that, so I went ahead and went with it. It's just got a bucket on it, and I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but.
Basically, it kind of wires at the top, and it's either an apple or a cherry. And basically, the bucket fills up. There's no lever for it, so the bucket fills up when it gets so full, it dumps.
So you got that warranty?
Yeah, it was,
Yeah,
it's
it's figured it
covered.
says Drayton's dump.
Not mine, but I was surprised that it was covered under warranty. But
Good. Anything else, Travis?
No, they got that. They'll be on.
Okay, now Drayton, what else you got?
Just a couple things. So soccer registrations for spring soccer are due on Friday, and we'll start the last Monday in March here coming up. So I'll be working on getting all that information out, getting equipment put together, fields, all that stuff, and get that rolling. I took requests for diamond use this morning at 10 o'clock, so I'll be working on that as well, making sure that teams have the times that they need to use the ball diamonds for baseball and softball. I've been talking with Brandon and my Park and Rec board on sports complex fundraising. I have some ideas, and I am working on that. I'm gathering information and hoping to get something put together to start raising money for that. And I'll give you guys more information as soon as I have all that put together. We're going to do an Easter egg hunt at the city park on April 8th. It'll start at 11:30 a.m. I'm working on getting info out on that as well. Be similar to what we did last year. And then we're working with the community development group in Mount Vernon to do them at separate times. That way people have the opportunity to do both if they wish. And then my last thing is, not such a good one, is we did not receive the Destination Iowa grant, which is unfortunate, but I want to thank everybody that put in all the time on that, because it took a lot to put it together and get it submitted. And we will continue to look for other opportunities.
Did they give us a reason, or did they
Yeah,
ever, any feedback?
They really didn't give us a whole lot of feedback. When they looked it over, they pretty much said that we weren't eligible. They didn't even give us a score for it and said that we weren't eligible for the fund. So
not something like.
I haven't emailed back into them, but we'll see what
It's all
comes
right.
of it.
I was just
So,
curious.
it's
to see
unfortunate,
that.
but I think we all it was kind of like a shot in the dark almost. We were hoping that we would get it.
Well, there was a lot of criteria that was set.
There was a lot of different
that-
stuff
yeah.
that was involved with it,
Yeah.
so. But anyways, we're gonna keep planning, to develop that piece over there, so.
Spring soccer is gonna be at the park,
Correct.
fall soccer, hopefully over there.
I talked to Brandon about that today, I doubt it.
I mean, there's no sense in us hurrying on it.
No, we're gonna make sure it's ready. That's-
Yeah.
Especially with fall, we don't run into baseball or anything, so fall is really like, we should play over at the park, but I wish we could've got out there this, I knew it wasn't gonna be possible, but we run into baseball and
If
stuff.
you wanna run around the park, there you can.
Yeah, so, but anyways,
You're gonna mow it anyway.
that's all I've got.
They're also starting on the Park and Rec building out at the sports complex.
Yeah, yep.
So, I got that phone call, that was my last one.
Anything else for grading?
And that's the Dutch.
Dutch Brothers.
Anything for grading?
Thank you, Drayton.
Please.
Nothing additional other than the report?
Anybody got anything for Doug? Ambulance?
I think they have their own meetings tonight.
Fire chief. One thing I have, fire department related, well, a couple things. We did order the boat sonar through fundraise money. And then we had a successful dance Saturday night. I think so far we're approaching $5,000 fundraised through that. So thank you to all those who supported that.
Thank you, fire chief. City administrator.
The GIS project for the cemetery has started. They've been out there a couple times starting to do their pin locations. So if you see people out there, that's what they're doing.
I bet Marcia is
Yeah,
ecstatic.
she wanted to
She
make
is
sure
so
that I
excited.
told you guys.
Where she was smiling.
Yeah.
I had a meeting with YTT and we're planning to have another meeting sometime next week to go over kind of what we need to do for the bids. They've met with our engineer and also met with a couple of the companies that will be doing the ball diamonds. So we're gonna go over that, about irrigation and what we need to do as the first steps. And right now they're formulating the bids, getting those ready to send out. So hopefully there's some more progress at the next meeting. Next week, we're also gonna sit down with the school maintenance along with the AD. I will be sending this out as well. It's the park lease agreement to you guys, just to go over. And probably the next meeting or the following one, I'd like to, just to get that approved, especially if there's any changes. So I'll send that to you probably tomorrow, and that way you'll have it. And if you have something, please respond to me with any questions or comments that you have.
And make sure you respond to Brandon only. Don't
I can
respond
send
to
out an
Bill.
email to everybody, just don't hit reply all, just hit one at a time. Downtown reinvest, what's that?
Because you always hit reply all, and then we all get it.
Uh,
It's considered a quorum, so we can't reply all.
Downtown reinvestment grant, I finally just, well, she's gone, but I just got the last bit of documents this past week, so here in the coming, probably the next meeting, I'll have that on the agenda for a formal approval for the changes that they had. Been speaking with personnel in reference to the union contract, along with those involved with the union, so we're getting that wrapped up and hopefully have that before you here pretty soon as well. I want to thank my staff, Public Works, Park and Rec, and front desk staff. This is, you know, we're short-staffed and there's a lot of things going on and a lot of phone calls for different things, contractors and what have you. And it seems like it snows on every Thursday, so we're having to dodge garbage cans and everything else. But I just appreciate everybody's work coming together and helping each other out, and it's a good environment to be involved with, so I appreciate that. the last thing is, just so people are aware, there is a realtor selling the Kiki's Restaurant downtown. It is for sale for $110,000 to include all the equipment, tables, everything in there. So anybody that's interested in opening a restaurant or just owning a building, one is for sale downtown, and I guess it had been for sale for a couple weeks, but they did put a new listing sign on the window, which now stands out so you can see it from the outside. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that, and I'll take any questions that you have. Is there anything for Brandon?
Is the blood drive full?
Oh, yes, the blood drive is full, and
When is that?
it's Wednesday at the fire station, and then there's another one out at Tin Roof,
April 29th at 9
April
a.m.
29th at 9 a.m. So that one is also out. So on behalf of my family, I thank you for those that signed up for that. It's pretty neat and needed.
It's on Wednesday, 9 a.m. here?
Yeah, Wednesday.
That's in the
You
afternoon.
should have a, what time did you sign up for?
I just gave my name, nobody told me.
You'll just be here at 9 o'clock. I'll give you 2
I'd
weeks
get here
after.
at 7 just in case.
No, it's in the afternoon, so don't show up that early.
Maybe I'm good for 3 quarts, I don't know.
No, I doubt that. Okay. Christina?
I have nothing at this time.
Council, Sarah?
I don't have a whole lot. I'll just obviously echo what Brandon said about all the staff being shorthanded. We appreciate everything you guys do. I was approached by a citizen who wanted me to just mention that they are very thankful that the ambulance came to their family's rescue when their little one was having a seizure. So they asked me to say something. So I would just wanted to thank the ambulance. So if you could pass that on to Jake, I know that you're on the board, that would be awesome. And that's really all I have.
John?
Thanks for all the hard work on the Destination Iowa application. The Friends of the Lisbon Library are having their trivia contest the 15th of April at Wynn's. It's a Saturday evening. And there are countless places you can volunteer or join a committee. But it's the Lisbon History Center, Southeast Lane Community Center, Friends of the Lisbon Library, the Lisbon Library itself, Historic Preservation. Do they have their 5th member yet? I think they were looking for one, weren't they?
No, but I did have, they are needing one, and there was one person that came down that I did give the info on to.
And I think the tree board could use more members too.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Rick? Mike?
Nothing.
I just have, you said we're going to renew with the school, the lease. Are we going to still put up a building over there?
No. Well, they can. We're okay. I think we're kind of past that.
As for the pavilion over here, where the Dutch Brothers were, I got 2 volunteers already for site work that are real good at it. Travis and have all the plumbing and everything, so but I'll get some more. So I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure I'll get the labor covered.
Well, that's the expensive part, the labor, the concrete.
One of them used to work here, and one of them's my son, so.
Thank you.
I told them they can't drink up the front.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I told them that. I said,
Did you clarify that?
I'll provide it afterward, but can't drink over there. That's all I got.
Mayor, can I ask a question?
Yep.
I just need some clarification on the History Center.
Yep.
You're gonna go ahead and take all the paint off it and leave it gonna leave it at the brick slate level, right?
It'll be down to brick, there might be some speckles here and there, whatever.
And what is that gonna cost?
It'll be retouched, what it's gonna cost.
$85,800. And that includes the brickwork.
And you have how much already to go to that project?
We're basically about $15,000 short after July.
Somewhere around 70.
Okay, and then the other thing, when it comes to the fundraising for that and the money, I just want to make sure that's coming out of preservation, not society, isn't it? I mean, the money that if the historical society would raise some, do some fundraising for their part on the inside, is that for their money or do they have to pay for the outside of the
I mean, honestly, you want my opinion, I think the historical preservation should be raising the money because it's preserving, right?
Yeah.
This is their grant that they wrote. But there's never anything against collaborating
I agree.
as a group.
I agree.
You know, two different groups collaborating and working together, more people involved. But that's my own personal opinion.
I just
I
don't
hope
want
that
to
helps.
follow in the historic society that they had come up with that $20,000 because I know that's not going to happen.
No, I don't think, I think it's a collaborative,
Good, okay,
yeah.
thank you.
I don't know if that was the answer that I should
No.
have gave, but that's my feeling.
That's how I feel.
That's where I'm going with that.
That's good, thank you.
Anything else? Meeting adjourned.